Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. Today, we have a very, very special guest. Well, maybe not very, very special. She's been on like 10 times already. But Fran Masucci. Masucci. And for all you people out there that don't say that name right, watch out. She's still got connections. You know what I'm talking about? She's still connected after all these years. Connected to the mob. I'm talking to a mob princess. What the hell? How the hell did and Fran, don't be flattered because you're not the first mob princess I spoke to. Actually, the first one I spoke to was Jackie Bricchini, Joey Bricchini's daughter, who was just a little girl at the time when I went to her house. But I got to speak to her, and at first she didn't like me very much because you know the way those mob girls are.
Well,
And
my father would have said you were a fucking rat.
yeah,
A rat
that's
fuck
it.
is what he would have said.
Okay, so tell me how you feel about. So now you were still connected to the mob, from what I hear. Now, when your dad was brutally murdered, um, you were 16, but you did stay connected in that type of business until what? Your 30s.
Almost 30. Yeah.
So, what do you know about informants, and how do you?
Oh,
Well,
we stay away from you people or we bury you.
okay,
We try to bury
okay,
you as
okay.
fast as possible before you open your big fat mouth. So,
Oh,
yeah. So we try to, tie you up with some rope and throw you in a river, or something, maybe put you in the garbage dump, whatever we have to do to
how
shut you
about
up.
didn't they used to put a rat in your mouth and
Well, it depends on what you did.
well,
It
I mean, a
depends
rat
on
is a
how you
rat is
did
a
it.
rat. I mean,
There's different types of rats, okay? There's
yeah.
different
Well,
types of rats.
and she's right. And the type of rat that I'm not, it's not like the most despicable people on planet Earth are ones that were truly your friend and crimey. That's how we used to call it back in the 70s. If you did a crime, if you had a co-defendant, he was your crimey. And to have somebody get popped, and then when a guy gets popped or a girl, uh, and they're facing a lot of charges, like I was, and then they rat, and then they put a wire on, and they go to their friends, and they try to hook up everyone to put in jail because they weren't man or woman enough to do the time. That wasn't me. I had to put one person away, and his name was John Uribe. I had to. He was my friend. There was a DEA case, and I told those DEA guys, if you want me to work this Medellin drug people, you will give him he'll take me to all these places, and I'll work everyone but him. They used to call him Black Cloud because everywhere he went to pick up his drugs or get drugs, everybody was getting arrested but him. He never put it together until he got. But him, so he was out of control on cocaine, and he threatened me. He finally figured it out that it had to be me. He had to figure it out. He called me grinding his teeth one night in the middle of the night, and he said, everyone in my house is going to be dead. And of course, I recognized his voice, and that's when I had to take him off. So I went back. I went to Coconut Grove in Miami, and we arrested him. But I never. All the other people, it was just a job. It was a job. I got a paycheck. Actually, I got cash, and I was just an undercover.
Well, they used to pay like $1,000 a week back then.
No, I got paid more than it wasn't. It wasn't a weekly thing. It was. Well, it depended on the case. I mean,
What year did you do it?
I did it from 1975. I went into jail in November of 1974. I got out in I think August of 75, and they got me out. And NYPD too. It was mostly the Manhattan District Attorney's Office squad that got me out. They got me the deal, and then I started working with the FBI. But and then it's a very exciting job. So it was just like me being a cop, except I didn't have a badge. No badge. In fact, I really do that. I really do have badges. I used to impersonate cops and FBI. I had all the credentials and everything.
So when did you actually write this book, Cop Without a Badge?
Actually, I never wrote a book. It was written. The book was written by Emmy Award-winning writer Charles Kipps. So this is how that happened. When I was living in New Jersey, I I met a guy by the name of Struck. I think his name is in my book, Strut, detective. He was a NYPD detective. Can't think of his name, Strut. And he was a technical consultant on the NBC TV series Law and Order with Dick Wolf. God bless you. And so one day I was in a room with the prosecutor, Dennis Callow in New Jersey, Bobby Collinari, a detective from Carlstadt, New Jersey. And we would all we were all talking about old war stories. And everybody was going, holy shit, this guy really got stories that would make a great movie. And so he said, I know somebody in the entertainment industry. His name is Struck. I can't think of his name, his first name, but he's the technical consultant of Law and Order. So he calls this guy Struck up. Struck comes down to the squad in Carlstadt, New Jersey, and we all have like a four people powwow. And he goes, man, this is an unbelievable story. I'm going to go directly to Dick Wolf, who was the producer of Wolf Productions. So he did. I met this guy, David Black. David Black got involved. He was the creator of the NBC TV series, Miami Vice. So these are all big people. And anyway, I met with Dick Wolf. He optioned it. He got me a movie deal with Universal Pictures. He got me a TV deal with NBC. He got me, and he really didn't get me the book. Charles Kipps got the book deal through my agent, Fifi Oswald, at the time. So then the next thing you know, bang, I got a movie deal and I got a book deal at the same time. And that's where it took off. But, and then I wound up, I thought I was going to retire. Then I wound up working the Joel Rifkin serial killer case. And there was more publicity about that. So that's how it happened.
Well, I wanted to ask you why, in your book, Joey Burkini and Roy DeMeo are not mentioned.
Joey Bikini is mentioned in my book.
In the book?
In the book.
I must have skipped over that part.
Yeah, it clearly shows that his cousin, the Bikini Cut brothers, or whatever the hell they were supposed to be, those were the guys that was doing bank robberies with. So that was another issue. So what happened was, Joey said, this is my cousin. Okay, so the first guy could have been his cousin. The other guy was a Neanderthal-looking guy that no way could be Italian. That was just, this story is all in my book. I mean, the guy put a freaking gun to my head, right? So, we did bank robberies, and I got caught, and they pressured me to snitch on them. Now, the first guy I sort of liked. So, and I didn't, at the time I was naive. I was only 17 years old. I didn't know anything about deals or anything like that. So I get locked up. Burton Roberts, the head of the Bronx District Attorney's Office at the time, threw the book on me when I wouldn't cooperate with the police and the FBI. They would come and talk about these bank robbers. Joey Burkini's cousin. I don't know what he was, but he told me he was his cousin. They were both his cousins. The other guy couldn't have been his cousin because he was a Neanderthal-looking guy, and he was an idiot. So these two guys would go to rob a bank one day, and it was a long driveway from the sidewalk to the bank. This guy comes out in a suit, and he's walking right towards us. Since summertime, we got hood, we got ski mask on. All we got to do is pull him down. And anyway, the guy takes one look at us at the car, and he turns around, and he goes right back in. I go, let's get the F out of here. The psycho guy in the back put the gun to my head. We ain't going nowhere. So despite that guy, I didn't snitch, and I went to jail. And Joey Bikini knew it. He knew it. So now I'm in jail for like 14 months with no bail. The judge remanded me without bail under mental observation, sent me to Bellevue, which I never even went to. I wound up in Rikers Island Hospital. So for 14 months, I had no bail. And all those wise guys were all shitting in their pants. They were all, but I didn't know. They thought I knew things, but I didn't. I was just a kid. I was just a kid from that candy store on 28th Avenue. But anyway, so I'm going on and on. So I didn't rat. And then when I came out 2.5 years later, Joey Bikini remembered that and knew I was a stand-up kid. And he put me to work for him. And what was the question? And so,
Oh, my God.
okay, all right. So now I'm working for Joey Bikini and was doing all kinds of stuff. I get arrested 5 times. One of the 5 times is with a New York City cop. We both got arrested, go with a stolen car. John Weiss from the 34th precinct. So I get arrested over the year that I'm working with Joey Bikini for stealing a car, 2 cars. I had 2 car charges in Manhattan and in Queens, or one in the Bronx. I was getting arrested all over the place. Then I got arrested in Philadelphia stealing color TVs with Joey Bikini's sidekick, Minsky. We would rent a room and steal the TV and fucking sell it. Every room in Joey Bikini's house back then had a RCA XL 100 color TV. So anyway, so I dumped Roy's car. I want to talk about that too, in the river. And we think it's Fran's father that remains what in there. And so let me back up. So when I did my first bid, Joey Bikini's cousin or whoever the hell that guy was, none of them. When I got locked up, nobody helped my mother with a lawyer. Nobody gave me commissary money when I was in Rikers Island, when I went to Kaksaki, when I went to Elmira. Nobody, none of them guys did anything. Nothing. Then when I got locked up the second time, I said, hey, I need $2,500 bail, and I need it right now. Before my parole officer said, if I get arrested one more time, he's sending me back for failure to leave a law-abiding life. So he's going to send me back. So I get locked up, and I told the guy, whatever his name is, I forget his name, Bikini's cousin, hey, I need you to bail me out $2,500 now before my parole warrant drops. Then I'm going back I was going to jump bail. And they didn't. They didn't give me nothing. They didn't give my mother nothing. And of course, Joey was cut out of this. Joey didn't know what was going on. And then it was at that time when I went F this, and I decided to cooperate. And that was in the Queen's House of Detention. That's where it all happened.
Well, it's funny because one of your commenters just happens to know me, and he recognized you, and he said, I was with him. I was with him in juvie or whatever, wherever you went. And I thought it was just quite surprising because he was from Long Island.
Yeah.
So,
well, if
yeah,
you get locked up in New York City, back then it was called the Adolescent Remand Shelter. And there were 8 cell blocks, 4 stories high. It was one intimidating place to be. It was rough. If it wasn't for the fact that I knew so many people in jail from when I was brought up in the South Bronx, when I walked in there, I knew a lot of black guys. I knew when I walked in there, I was good because I also was a very good looking kid. I mean, even to this day, I don't know if you guys have noticed my hair. Anyway, it's
there's a thing, it's called narcissism. And when I look it up, I see a picture of you, smack me in the face. It smacks me in the face.
How was my hair in that picture?
It looks just like you cut it yourself.
I did, but for the first time I go, I'm lazy, I don't want to go to the pub. I did it.
I have my hairdressing license. You cut your own hair.
No, but
you don't know how to blend it. It's sticking out like a clown.
No, it's not like. Never mind. The way they're talking about this is not a hair channel. This is
no, you're kidding, and you bring it up every time we're on.
Well, because I feel like I'm looking at for everybody that's never did one of these podcasts. I'm looking at myself right now. She's to the left. I'm looking at myself like I'm in the mirror, and every time I get
look at me, look at me, and don't look at you. Then I don't look at myself.
But I'm pretty good looking for 70 years old. I don't know. But anyway, where was I? So I get distracted looking at myself. I shouldn't be looking at myself. I should go like this. Oh, there you go. Okay, now I can talk to you. Because I can't be distracted by this good-looking guy over here and the thing. All right, so anyway, so then I become an informant. And I wound up, because of my jail connections, in my New York City jail connections. And now when I got out, so was a lot of all my friends that were doing, they would, at that time, they were giving a lot of people out indeterminate sentence. You got a zip 3 or a zip 4. That's what I got. No less than 1 day, no more than 4 years, depending on your behavior in prison. But so then I get out and I start working, and I'm thinking, and I always wanted to be a cop when I was a kid, I always wanted, and then I loved it. I just loved the fact to go undercover. And then then with the DEA, I was making a lot of money. I mean, one of my busts, I think it was 189,000. It's in my book, the number, but I was the highest paid informant that year. In fact, my money was due in September, and the DEA was completely out of money for informants because the government starts their new what do you call it? Every October, the government's funding for all these agencies start. So the DEA said, we only got like 600. Here's 600. We have to wait till October 1st until we get our new allocations for our budget next year. And they said, and by the way, you are the highest paid out of any informant for one case. So, and then you're above the law. Then you get to do the shit that I got away with. Who wouldn't want to do it? I mean, they make being an informant so attractive. Who in their right mind wouldn't? If you got, and the thing with the feds is, like with the DEA especially,
except for the fact that you could get a bullet in your head at any point.
Well, I never thought of that, because if I ever would have thought of that, working with some of these guys are smart guys. They're not stupid, and they've read that in my eyes and my gesture and was I nervous? They especially the Colombians, they'll just kill you, even if they think you could.
Colombians are ruthless.
If there are 3 people that could have snitched, they kill all 3. They don't get, all 3 are going. All 3 gotta go. Don't matter, they're not going for it. And in the 80s, the mafia was being infiltrated left and right by their own members. They were paranoid up the kazoo. How paranoid? Listen to this story.
Do we have to?
Huh? What'd you say? Wisecrack this one. In 1997, this CBS TV producers contacted my publicist, right? And they go, we want him on the show. Vincent the Chin Gigante is on trial, and he's trying to use an insanity defense, and we want to interview Kevin about it. So I go on the thing. It's on my channel. You can check it out. It's just maybe 6 months ago I put this on. And so they were asking me questions about the mob and stuff and how it works. And they asked me this question. They go, what do you think of his act about dressing up like a doddering old man and walking around in his slippers and bathrobe, singing the parking meters? So I say, then I said prior to that, the FBI had apartments all over Lower East Side where the Chin lived, and they were filming him left and right. And one of the landlords for the property that rented it to the FBI told him, he knew, he said, they're renting my apartment over there and they're filming you. So that's when the Chin got the idea, I'm going to act like a crazy old man that don't know what's going on, and they won't be able to try me because I'm incompetent. That's what it is. So he would put on this show. So they asked me about it, and I said, well, if he knows he's going to be filmed, he's going to act, he's going to play the crazy old man act or something like that, I said. And then they cut I said, if if he knows that he's being filmed, he's gonna give them something to film that's gonna behoove him. And then they cut to the announcer. And the announcer said, and a federal judge agreed. Well, wait a minute. I didn't tell that to a federal judge, you idiot. Now they had wiretaps on him even while he was on trial for 7 murders. And so the next thing I know, I get a phone call from the FBI, and they said we picked up a conversation where the Chin thinks that you told a federal judge that his defense of being incompetent was bullshit, and then the judge just ruled that he wasn't going to, he didn't believe him, and now he wants you dead. So somewhere he was on the phone, or I don't know where it was. So the FBI go, you got to move, and you got to do it now. They want to kill you. They want to kill. He wants you dead. They're all trying to figure out who you are. And I told the FBI agent, this guy in Chicago, I never met the guy. They just put words in my mouth. And when people edit, you can make someone look like they said anything. So that was my Vincent the Chin Gigante story. I understand that you one time met his daughter.
Yes, I did. And, she's a psychic. Yeah, but she's just not as good as my girl is. And I do want to mention you said Law and Order. There is an episode about my crime family on there, the Masucci crime family.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
On what, do you remember what episode it was?
I don't remember, but somebody will look it up and find it.
I had a good friend of mine.
It was kind of surprising as I was sitting there with my friends and they're mentioning my name and everybody looks at me and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even know that this was happening.
Well, Dick Wolf's whole concept of that show is every story that's on Law and Order was ripped from the headlines. That's true. Every one of the stories, more like ripped off from the headlines. They're like ripped off. But
it would have been the Masucci brothers, because back in that day, they had like 500 articles about them in the headlines in Jersey City in the Jersey Journal. I have all the newspaper articles, all the FBI files, all the police reports. I've got everything.
So I mean, you're a real mob girl. So now I understand that you have 92 cousins.
I did. A lot of them have passed. I'm the youngest of the first generation of cousins.
Okay, so but there's a lot of your family, cousins, whatever. I think you said cousins to me.
Yeah.
That have been giving you a hard time about dealing with an FBI.
Oh, they don't want me to talk to you at all. They don't like you. They don't like you. Bang, bang, bang. You're bang, bang. You're dead. You're dead.
How do you explain? Okay, so I always wondered. I've been ever since we became acquainted in a very unbelievable way. Here I am. I remember I was shitting in my pants first time I saw her face, or I think it was on one of these podcasts. And I saw this woman's father and threw it in the river. I remember I didn't want to make even though it's on a computer, I didn't want to make eye contact with her. How do you talk to somebody that you did that to, even though I really didn't know? I mean, by the time I got to 59th Street Bridge, I knew there was a dead body in there. And the other
I have interviewed many men who I suspected might have done this, and all of them could look me in the eye.
Because those people are without conscience. Let me tell you something about murderers. And I met a whole bunch of them. I've been in all prisons, all kinds of jails. But every single murderer that I spoke to about his crime all had one thing in common.
No conscience.
They are without conscience. Without conscience. I have a conscience. And for 50 years.
I know you seem like you're a tough guy, but you know what? You're really a teddy bear.
But I really am a tough one. But I could be many things. I like to think of myself as being a good person with a good heart. I help people. I lend them money all the time. I can't tell you how much thousands of dollars are owed to me. But You know, I am. We are all not just one thing.
It's
We are
true.
all many things. There's good enough. You know, the vast majority of with me is I'm a good guy, but I can be the other guy too. You know, I learned early on in prison. When I got to prison, when I got to Rikers Island, all my black friends got me to the side and they said, listen, this is how you got to act. These guys are going to try to jump you. They're going to try to take your manhood. They're going to try to get you a commissary. This is what you got to do. And you got to do it just like this. The second anybody even comes up to you and says anything to you, you have to immediately fight them. And we can't help you. I had like 3 of my friends from the South Bronx. They go, I said, oh, well, you got my back, right? He said, we can't go anywhere near you because you're white. But this is what you got to do. Do this, and then we'll go and tell everyone he's okay. He's from my neighborhood. You know, I was just lucky. Or God forbid what could have happened to me in there. I was just lucky. But um, uh, when I would meet these people, and because we would see them, they get arrested, and then they would come in either in the middle of the night or the next morning. We see them on TV. Like one guy killed 9 people, and 2 of them were kids. And his name was Bug Out. It was a black guy with a blue eye. And I said, and I'm watching watching them taking the body bags out, and then there were 2 little small body bags.
Oh my God.
Walking down it, and I said, "Yo, Bug Out, okay." He's telling us what he did. And I said, "Okay, this guy effed with you, and he did." Okay, and then I says, but why did you kill the kids?
Oh, you're a coward.
No, you know what he said?
No, because they were there.
Because they were there.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Even the mafia doesn't kill children.
No, no,
Wife, kids. No, that doesn't
let me
go
tell you
over.
something. Even most of the people that I was in jail with back then were all dope fiends. Heroin was a big problem. Everybody was there was a dope fiend. They were dope sick. They were on methadone. I mean, but when he said that, they
That's
beat
just
the crap
disgusting.
out of him.
That's
Then
just
they would.
disgusting.
Then he had to do things for them that I don't even want to mention on this channel. You know, so he had a very bad time in
Good.
jail
Good.
and
He
Rikers
deserved
Island.
every second
And
of
I
it.
can imagine when he went upstate, what happened
Good.
to
He
him.
just good. Listen, buddy, I have an appointment. I have to go. So, you know, I love you, honey, but I gotta go.
Love you.
I got a very important appointment to meet.
Yeah, it's a hot date, is what she's trying to tell
No,
me.
it's not a date.
I guarantee he doesn't have a good head set of hair like me.
Oh,
Okay, with that, I hope this was
I
informative.
do not date bald guys, just so you know that, okay?
Nothing bold about me, honey.
Because I'm married.
Look at the way to bounce it's got. Anyway, do you have anything else to say, Fran?
Thanks for watching.
Thanks
Thanks for
so much.
listening to Kevin ranting about himself, his narcissism. Thank you guys for putting up with Kevin while I sit here. It's supposed to be my channel, but I never get a chance to say much.
If I
You know,
don't, who will? See you guys.
all about you.
See, that is not. This is all about you. You took over my channel. Took over my.
Let's have a vote on that, guys. Vote on that. Is it all about me or is it all about Kevin?
I even put her on not me, my kid. Put her on the left side. It's always the left side.
Oh, I'm on the left side.
I'm on the right side. This ain't England where I'm driving on the right side. She's in the driver's seat. What a great analogy, you know, because those guys drive on the wrong side. You get it? I thought that was pretty funny. Anyway, I'll see you on the next one.